So now with everything going virtual, it's even probably harder. And I want to hear from you your thoughts on when you are marketing your programs, especially to young people, to youth. What is it that you're trying to do differently so that those images and maybe some horrific memories of some of those halakas or madrasas or Sunday schools don't come back to haunt them, and hopefully they get excited on their own instead of their parents pushing them to make sure you attend this specific online program. So maybe I'll start with Sister Samia here to see what is it in terms of marketing and in terms of course, your program development that you're trying to do differently so that kids are not thinking that it's just another one of those boring halakas or programs or sheikh speaking, for instance.
I'm glad you asked this actually, because this is the thrust of my program. Is I told myself that I wouldn't, if when eventually, inshallah, when we do go in live in person, we will have it in a fun place, like I don't know, the D spot or something, right? Where everyone's having dessert and there's Islamic atmosphere, yet it's fun. It's it brings in a lot of the culture aspect of being Canadian into the mix, and that's kind of a vision that's there. But as far as just even naming the topic, okay, so we call their a program Girl Talk, right? It's pretty vague, right? It's not, there's no real like Islamic context to it. Not to say that we actually have, whenever we have like our speakers come in and they talk about any topic, there's always through Islamic lens. But we also want to recognize, for example, we'll have topics like identity crisis, right? Where, maybe there are girls that are in that verge of they don't know where they belong, right? So we're now kind of saying, hey, there's still a place for you. There's still a place where you can kind of come back to, right? Maybe masjid is not the direct place you can go back to right now, but there's a segue, there's a path to get there, inshallah, right? Having conversations about mind over matter, right? Or having conversations about my parents don't get me, right? That's one big session that we had, and we had one sister that came in and spoke about what are some of the challenges, right? In fact, on upcoming Sunday, we're going to have another session, and this is going to be about my kids don't get me, right? So our job as a community at this time is to bring the families together and bridge those gaps. And I can't speak to how much emphasis we put in trying to make it more fun. So we'll have like Kahoot games, we'll have like Jeopardy games. Again, Islamic topics, but we have to kind of have the young girls go on Instagram and TikTok to kind of like say, hey, let's play a game. There's a gift at the end, and there's things like that. So it's always motivating them, encouraging them in the language that they understand. And one of the biggest things that our program, what we have right now is we don't have, let's say, I call myself an auntie, like we don't have the aunties giving who's the host, right? We will always have somebody younger. So we'll have, if you watch my programs, it's always going to be a university student who's a host, and a co-host will always be like a 10 to 16-year-old. So when you have that as a optic, it really changes things. And, girls are more willing to listen to their peers or somebody just a little bit older than them than somebody who looks like me, who's an auntie, right? So that's how I kind of positioned our program to kind of reach out to various types of audience.